And tonight we'll be going through a few postures and breathing exercises for hormone regulation. Just with my own practice, this has been a big process of using movement and breath to just really regulate my physical structure and then allowing that to translate to my inner environment. So this will just be a little bit of a peek inside of my practice. And so tonight we'll be doing a few acupressure points, and I want to speak a little bit about the channel that we'll be working with, kind of creating a circuit and just visualizing this within the body. So it's called the Chong Mai, and in Chinese medicine, this channel is our sea of blood. And in Chinese medicine, blood has a bit of a broader meaning than just our actual blood that we know in allopathic medicine. And this blood contains all the nutrients to nourish our organs, and it flows through our entire body. And the movement of this blood is via our breath or our qi. So in acupuncture school, you hear this all the time. Qi is the commander of blood, and blood is the mother of qi. And so that's why during this practice tonight, I'll really be stressing the breath, because this breath is what's going to allow this blood to circulate through our body and regulate its flow. And when we can regulate the flow of blood, then we can even out the hormones within our body and just really regulate our whole system. So it's really beneficial to work with our breath in this way, to just allow the blood to move through the body and get into the spaces that it needs to go. So with that, we can begin our practice tonight. If you do have a set of blocks handy, that would be helpful, and a blanket just for at the end, that would also be really nice as well. So we can make our way to a comfortable seat, and we're going to start actually with a little bit of acupressure. So I'm just going to demo the point here in front of the camera up close so you can see it. The first point will actually just be on our foot, just in the arch here, coming along the big toe and finding the base of the bone there. And you'll probably find a little bit of a tender spot in there, and that's when you know you've got it. So we'll come to a comfortable seat and just begin to put a little pressure on that point. And as you allow the pressure of your fingers or your thumbs to sink into this place, just close your eyes and begin to connect to your breath. The Chong Mai is also known as our blueprint, and I find it very interesting that this point is actually named grandparent, grandchild. And I just think that there's a lot of inner wisdom that can be connected to this point. So just sinking into that inner knowing and connecting to the space. Breathing here. The Chong Mai is also a really important vessel because it has 5 branches that extend to cover a large trajectory of the body. And so by focusing our influence on this channel, we can really begin to influence a lot of different areas of the body. Flowing up the inner legs, through the pelvis and up the abdomen, and then it spreads across the abdomen and chest. And then there's a branch that travels up the throat to the face and the eyes. And then there's also a branch that travels up the back along the spine. And so by connecting to this point on our feet, we're actually spreading influence over our entire bodies here. And as we're pressing into this point, beginning to set an intention for this practice. Connecting to what brings you here tonight. And gently beginning to release the pressure on the feet as you let your intention sink into your body. Softly, softly, just removing the pressure from the point. Gently opening the eyes. And we'll just begin to flutter our knees here, just getting a little movement through the legs. Breathing. And just starting to pump some blood through the pelvis here. And as we move through this practice, as we're thinking about regulating our hormones, regulating our systems, just beginning to think about equalizing the sensations through the body. And as we begin to equalize the sensations on the larger tangible scale of the physical tissues, we create the space for that to happen within our internal environment. And then just letting the legs rest. Closing the eyes and just breathing, noticing the space. And then when you're ready, we can make our way to standing. And so we're going to interlace our fingers and reach our palms up towards the ceiling here. Beginning to equalize the pressure through the soles of the feet, through the sides of the body, and pressing out through the heels of the hands. Equalizing the sensation. And then on an exhale, we'll fold the body forward. So you can bend your knees here, resting the chest on the knees. Maybe placing some blocks underneath your hands because we really want the hands to connect to a solid surface here. So we can begin again to even out the pressure between the hands and the feet. And then on an exhale, stepping that left foot back, keeping that back knee up and toes tucked under. Anjaneyasana, we're going to walk the fingertips forward here. If you have a set of blocks, you can bring them underneath just to give the torso a little more space. And breathing here. Lengthening through the torso here. Engaging that abdominal branch of our Changmai. Reaching back through the heel of the left foot and reaching forward through the crown of the head. And then exhale, our hands can come underneath the shoulders here and we'll step back into a downward facing dog. Press the body here. Using the breath to create space. And then on an inhale, our left foot can come forward, Anjaneyasana on the left side. Walking the fingertips out in front of us here. Keeping that left knee stacked over the left ankle. Reaching back through that right heel and reaching forward through the torso and the crown of the head. Then we can exhale, place our palms underneath our shoulders. Inhale, stepping that right foot forward, and then we fold over the legs here. Pressing the hands into the floor. Feel lengthening down the back of the body, engaging that back line of the Chong meridian. And then inhale, we roll the body up, reaching the palms overhead. Again, fingers interlaced and pressing the palms towards the ceiling. Lengthening through the waist here. And equalizing the pressure between the feet. And then exhale, we can release. On another inhale, we'll bring the hands up, palms press overhead this time. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. And then exhale, we can fold forward over the legs. Again, bending the knees if we need to. We just want to make sure we can press the palms into the ground. Breathing here. And then on an inhale, we can step that left foot back. This time, placing the left knee onto the floor, top of the left foot onto the floor, bringing the torso up. The right arm can come to the right knee, and then we lift the left arm up overhead. Opening up the tissue through the front of the legs here. Using our breath to help circulate the energy. And then exhale, releasing the hands down to the floor. Inhale, we can tuck the back toes under, lifting the back knee. And then exhale, stepping back, downward facing dog. Pressing the body. And then on your next inhale, stepping the left foot between the hands and lowering down onto that right knee. Placing the top of the foot onto the floor. Bringing the torso up. And right arm reaches up overhead. Pressing through the top of that back foot. All of the acupuncture channels begin or end on the feet, the hands and feet. And so using the pressure to activate these channels is really helpful in that energy circulation. And then exhale, releasing the hands down to the floor, tucking the back toes under, lifting the back knee. And we'll step that right foot forward between the hands, and we can fold forward over the legs here. So as we're moving through these postures, just beginning to observe where there may be a difference of sensation in your body. Maybe there's a large, bright sensation on one side and it's not quite as bright on the other. And just beginning to ask yourself how you can begin to even that out. Inhaling, rolling the body up, palms press overhead. Breathe in, lengthening. Creating a 360-degree expression here. And then exhale, releasing the hands down by your side and just noticing how you feel. On our next inhale, we'll take a step back to the right, squaring our hips to the back of the mat, keeping that left foot at a 45-degree angle. Right toes point forward and we'll bend into that right knee. Warrior one. Hands can stay at the waist here. Or if it feels right for you, palms can press overhead. Allowing the breath to invigorate the body here as we open up through the hips and pelvis. And then we can exhale, releasing the hands behind our back, interlacing the fingers, and just gently leaning the torso back. Gaze comes up towards the ceiling here. Opening up through the front of the body with the support of the back. Then we can inhale, bringing the torso up. And then on an exhale, we'll bring the left elbow to the right thigh and we'll twist here. You can either leave that back foot flat on the floor, or we can come onto the back toes if the hips need a little more space here. You can always drop down onto that back knee if it feels right for you. Just becoming really in tune to what the body is saying and speaking to you right now. On an inhale, we can release, straighten the legs, and we'll do that on the other side. So coming into warrior one, hips are square to the front of the mat, right foot is at a 45-degree angle, and we bend into that left knee. Staying with your breath. Allowing each inhale to expand the body and noticing the space that's left behind with each exhale. So we can interlace the hands behind the back now, gently squeezing the shoulder blades together. Leaning back slightly, just as far as the body allows. Opening up through the front. Inhale, we can release, bringing the torso up, and then exhale, we can twist here. Right elbow to left thigh. Stacking the palms on top of each other. Coming on to the back toes if the hips need more space, or we can even drop onto that back knee. And as we're twisting here, we're engaging with a little nurturing pressure to that left ovary. And a nice little gentle squeeze. On an inhale, we can straighten the legs, reaching the arms, and then exhale, coming to the top of the mat. So we'll come into a balancing posture, so Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. So we're wanting to ground into our left foot. We can bring the right knee up, or we can even grab on to the outside of the right foot. Left hand comes to the hip. Grounding through the left foot. Breathing here. And now we'll twist. So if you're holding onto the knee, we grab the knee with the left hand and twisting the torso to look over the right shoulder here. Keeping that right foot flexed and active. Equalizing out the sensation. And inhale, your gaze returns to center, and then exhale, we can release. And we'll do that on the other side. So grounding through the right foot now, left knee comes up. We're grabbing to the outer edge of the left foot or the left big toe. Keeping both feet active. So as we're moving through the practice and connecting to the idea of equalizing and balancing the sensation of the body, you may come across sensations that are really bright, really strong, and just know that this is the work that we have to do. So just taking a moment to be with those sensations, and now we can twist. And just ask yourself, how can we use maybe the breath to help smooth out the sensation? And we can inhale, gaze comes back to center, exhale, release. Shaking up the legs. And we'll just do a little flow down to the ground here. So inhale, reaching the arms up, palms press. And then exhale, we fold over the legs. Inhale, lifting the head and chest halfway. Exhale, we're just going to step back into a downward facing dog here. And from here, we're going to place our forearms onto the floor, elbows underneath the shoulders. Coming in to a Panchamayurasana posture. And then we're just going to walk the toes in just as far as the body allows here. Just pressing the forearms into the ground. And then we can push back up into a downward facing dog, just releasing the body here. And coming down onto our seat. And first we'll come into Mykayla A. So we'll bring the right sole of the foot onto the floor, just outside of the hip bone here. And here we're just going to hug the leg into the chest. Just compressing the area around the right ovary here. I'm really sending some breath into that space. And then we can exhale, release, and we'll come into Mykayla seat. So placing the right sole of foot just to the outside of the left knee. On an inhale, grounding through the sit bones, lengthening through the spine. And then exhale, we can twist towards the right. Hugging that right knee into the chest. Gaze comes over the right shoulder. And breathing here. And then inhale, gaze returns to center. And exhale, we can release. And we'll do that on the other side. Bringing the left foot in for Mykayla A variation. So we'll bring the left sole of foot just outside the hip bone here. Or the sit bone, sorry. Hugging that knee into the chest. Bringing your attention to that left ovary here. And then we can exhale, release, placing the sole of the foot just outside of the right knee. Inhale, grounding through the sit bones, lengthening through the spine, crown of head. And then exhale, twisting to the right, or left, sorry. Keeping the weight balance through the sit bones. How can we even out the sensations here? Inhale, gaze comes towards center. And exhale, we can release. Maybe giving the legs a little shake here. We're just gonna bring the legs right out in front. And then we're just going to sit up tall, hands behind our sit bones here, and tap our feet together here. Waking up the channels along the insides of the legs, waking up our kidney channel, and just beginning to utilize all the resources we have in our body. And then we can just come to neutral. Inhale, lifting the spine, lengthening. And then exhale, we're just gonna walk the torso forward. Hands can grab onto the edges of the feet here, or they can hold the shin, grounding on the floor, whatever feels good. Reaching forward with the chest. And then here, we're just gonna take our hands, make a loose fist, and gently tap our backs here. Just gently tapping the low back. Maybe tapping the sides of the hips, the glutes. Just gentle tapping here. And then exhale, releasing the hands. Inhale, lifting the head and chest. And we can exhale, release. Coming onto our knees here. We're gonna bring our knees about hip distance and come into camel pose. So on an inhale, we're going to lift the chest towards the ceiling. Palms of the hands come towards the low back. Fingertips pointing down. And on an exhale, we're going to engage the glutes, push the pubic bone forward, and just reach our chest up and back. Maybe dropping the head if that feels good. Just feel an opening along the front of the body. Pushing those hips forward. And then on an exhale, we can release. The head comes up last, holding onto the knees and rounding the back here. Feeling the breath fill the back of the body here. And we'll go up again, so we'll do that again. Inhale, lifting the chest towards the ceiling. Exhale, engaging our glutes, pushing the pubic bone forward and bringing the chest up and leaning back. And then exhale, releasing. Head comes up last, holding onto the knees and rounding the spine. Leaning back. And then from here, we'll just come into a child's pose, bringing the knees about mat width. And as we bring the torso down to the floor, I just want you to place your 2 thumbs to the inner edge of your eyebrow here. You'll probably find a little bit of a tender spot right on the bone there. So just as we bring the torso down, placing the thumb knuckles on that tender spot right at the inner edge of our eyebrow. Just letting the head sink softly, softly into the pressure. For myself, I'm always so amazed how tender this spot is. Connecting to the area where hypothalamus and pituitary gland lie deep here. Breathing and allowing the breath to fill the body. And then gently lifting the head off of the thumbs and placing the forehead just down onto the tops of your hands. And just noticing how that feels. And then slowly just beginning to make your way onto your back for Shavasana. So you can grab a blanket or anything that you need to make yourself feel cozy here, and just coming to lie flat on the mat. Taking a deep inhale and beginning to squeeze the entire body, holding at the peak for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Releasing. And we'll do that again. Inhaling, squeezing and contracting the entire body here, all the way to the peak for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. One last time. Inhale, squeezing the entire body, lengthening and contracting, holding at the peak. And exhale, releasing, settling into the mat. And from here, I just want you to bring your palms onto the bottom of your ribs here. And just tracing your fingers up along the ribs to the midline, to the sternum, to the center point here, just where the ribs begin to flare out. Placing one finger here on the midline, and then one finger on your belly button. Attempting to find a midway point between these two. And then bringing your fingers to this midway point. On our midline here. And then just moving them about 1/2 inch off of the midline to the right and the left, just on either side of the midline. And adding a little pressure here. And then walking your fingers about 1 inch up. And then adding a little pressure here. And then moving your fingers about 1 more inch up. Just noticing if you feel any tension here in your abdomen. Just adding a little pressure here on these last few points of the Chiang Mai trajectory. Ending on kidney 21, the dark gate. Creating a circuit of communication from spleen 4, our first point, up through the legs, the pelvis, and the torso. And then gently, gently releasing the pressure on this point. And letting the hands come to rest by your side. Full relaxation. Beginning to bring some deeper breaths into the body. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Maintaining this quality of space that you've created inside, and when you're ready, turning to come onto your right side. Resting here for a moment. And then when you're ready, coming up to a comfortable seat. Keeping the eyes closed and just maintaining this quality of space. A lot of my own process has been clearing the space of the abdomen, working through the congestion that might be holding there. And so we'll do a breathing technique called Kapalabhati, which is really great for removing stagnation from our centers. If you are maybe menstruating at this point, or you have tried to conceive, or you're pregnant, please don't take this breathing technique. Just continue to be soothed by the rhythms of your own breath. So for Kapalabhati, it's a pumping action of the abdomen. We'll be doing strong exhales with the navel snapping back towards the spine, and the inhale happens automatically. So we're really focusing on snapping the belly button back towards the spine on the exhale, breathing through the nose with an audible sound. I like to place my hand on my belly just to make sure that I've got that pumping action going. So we'll take an inhale together here through the nose. Full exhale through the nose. Inhale halfway, the belly comes out, and then we begin. Up to 54 rounds or until you're ready. Full exhale. We retain here. And then full inhale. Noticing the illumination within the body, the lightness that's been created through our center here. And just allowing this quality of space and this sensation to lead you into your meditation. And we'll just take the last 60 seconds of our practice here to really focus our internal gaze and focus our attention to a single point right in front of our closed eyes. Eliminating distraction. You can begin to soften the gaze. Taking a moment here to just notice how you feel. Feeling a softness or a lightness. Feeling balanced through body, breath, and mind. And just know that you feel this good because you did the work. Bringing your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Connecting back to your intention. And we'll seal the practice with the mantra Om one time. Taking a deep inhale. Om. Thank you so much, everyone. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope that through this practice you were able to find some balance and some equalization throughout your body. And just know that as you move forward, or you might be dealing with hormonal imbalances, that just practicing to begin to equal out the sensations of the body is really helpful. It takes time, but through the work of body, breath, and mind, it's so possible. Have a great evening. Bye.